Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode here of Let's Talk Airguns. My name is Rick Utzler, and we will be talking about hopefully some pretty cool stuff tonight, and we'll hopefully get some viewer participation and answer some questions that come up. As always, I want to say thank you to our sponsors. First and foremost, we have Airgun Pro Shop. Kick over here real quick. Airgun Pro Shop is a company that's dedicated to really bringing you the pro in the airgun side of things. And what I mean by that is sometimes it's hard to find, the right fit, right match of products. And it's really cool when you have a company that's focused on bringing, kind of commonality in the sense of off-the-shelf products that go very well together and that are easy to support and maintain and provide. Basically pull everything together so that you have exactly what you need out of the box, and you're not having to do a bunch of little questions. I remember back in the day when I was first starting, how easy was it to you buy a scope, comes with rings, you go to put it on your air gun and it's the wrong set of rings. That kind of stuff is just frustrating. And maybe that doesn't happen to you guys, but boy, it sure happened to me until I learned all the different nuances. And if you're new to air gunning and you need someone to help you make sure you get everything just right so that you have success out of the box, that is what Airgun Pro Shop is all about. So if you guys have any needs, any questions, anything you guys are looking for airgun related, check them out, www.airgunproshop.com. And we'll probably reference their site a couple times during the show here. First of all, I want to say hey there, hello to everybody. We got Kyle, Timmy, and Terry in. Maybe Angie will be joining us tonight. I'm not sure. She may be out trying to get a deer. I know my cousin just got his first deer. I don't know if his first deer. It might have been his first year. Got it last. Was this morning actually, because I was woken by texts from Angie and my family that Sammy got his first deer. So that was actually pretty cool. He did take it with a firearm, but we're going to get him switched over to hunting with air guns before too long. But we wanted to get him started with some good success here. Kyle, let me get to your question here, Kyle. So yesterday, it was just yesterday, we released a video. Some folks had been asking after I did the Daystate video, does the Air Arms shoot slugs? It's a choked barrel. I'm pretty sure it's a Lothar Walther barrel. So it's their standard airgun barrel. The gun's designed to shoot pellets. One of the things I want to talk about today is when does it make sense to shoot slugs? When does it make sense to shoot pellets? We've had a couple comments come in along those lines. One of them is, why would anybody shoot slugs? And really, it's a pretty good question. We're going to get to that because there are some really good use cases for slugs. I'm pretty sure the barrel's choked. I haven't cleaned the barrel since the video, so I don't know if there's been any letting. So I don't know that I've got a solid answer for you on that. I know that I haven't noticed it in the past with choked or unchoked barrels. And I don't think we're pushing fast enough to really for letting to be a real issue on this. If we were pushing much faster, then I would see we may have more of an issue. But this gun was shooting relatively tame as far as the velocity and power goes. It's really not a power gun, which is, one of the use cases for slugs. If you have an air gun that's really pushing a lot of power and you're 1,300 feet per second with pellets, that's too fast for pellets. So you want to make use of that power. You need a projectile that's going to do that. A slug can be a much better fit. So you get the power, you're bringing the velocity down because slugs are generally heavier. And oftentimes you may get a better result with slugs in that super powerful gun. The other side of it is that if you're shooting for accuracy, wow, Tim, I'm sorry you're having a problem with the 177 QB. That's interesting. Yeah, that is unusual. I would simply, if you got it from a vendor, then maybe try and get it replaced because that's unusual. That gun has always been a really easy gun to to work with. Let me just turn my phone off. That's my doctor calling. We can touch base with them later. Okay. They're not doing that stuff. Okay. So sorry to hear that, Tim, but I don't know, do the normal stuff, clean the barrel, and I'm curious what pellets you're trying to run through it. Anyway, when does it make sense to shoot slugs versus pellets? Well, if you have a pellet rifle, and you're shooting inside 100 yards, most of the time, and I'm talking 7, 8 out of 10 times or better, pellets are going to be the more accurate option. Provided it has, well, I mean, yeah, inside 100 yards, you're probably going to find pellets just are better. When you get past 100 yards, boy, pellets just do not translate well past that because the shape causes them to bleed energy very quickly. So a slug doesn't have that skirt, doesn't have like a shuttlecock like you have with a badminton. So it's not going to bleed energy nearly as quickly. So less drop, maintains its energy better. So when you get past 100 yards is when slugs start becoming something you want to look at, provided your gun can push them. Because if you're only got 500 feet per second at the muzzle, you're not going to be shooting 100 yards. So you really need a gun that's set up to shoot them. It's got to push heavier projectiles with enough velocity to really have the stability past that 100 yards. If you do, that's when slugs become something you want to look at. The other option for slugs is if you're in a hunting situation and slugs are just a better option. Maybe they have better expansion, better penetration, they're more weight, they're doing a better job than, say, pellet would in a hunting situation, then that's where slugs become a good option. And, more and more people are shooting small bore slugs, whether it's 22, 25. I know if Joe was here, you'd be talking. Timmy, if you got on a trade, I'd ask the guy, what his performance was, because that is unusual. Be curious if. All right, so time out on the whole slug contest. Public service announcement. If you're buying a gun on a trade, insist the seller provides you a shot card of what they're getting, and some sort of assurances that that is the expected performance of the gun. It is very easy to get a trade, and I'm not saying this is what happened to you, Tim, but it's very easy to get a trade that somebody just wants to get out of a purchase that they're having a problem with. So I would always insist, like, for example, when I was running Airgun Pro Shop and we would sell a gun for somebody, we put it in Rick's private stock or we did a consignment deal. I always had the customer ship the gun to me. I would check it out, test it. I would provide the buyer real data on that gun with an expectation of what to expect in performance and accuracy. Or I would say very clearly, sold as is, status unknown, and price it accordingly. But the idea is that if you're going to do a trade, make sure that you know what you're getting into before just taking it. And so I hope that it's not a big deal there, Tim. I hope that you can get it sorted out, or that whoever you traded it with is willing to stand behind that trade, that it's a good working gun. It really shouldn't. It should be a good shooting gun. I don't know how far you're trying to shoot or where you're going with it, but the 177 QB78 is probably a 15 to 20 yard gun, and it should probably do really well at those distances. If you're trying to push it out beyond that, like 50 yards, it's not going to do, probably not going to do well there. Anyway, so back to the slug conversation. Okay, so slugs, again, are viable when you want to try and shoot past 100 yards, providing your gun can push them. And two, if there's a hunting situation or some sort of special use case where a slug just gives you an advantage. Those are where slugs make the most sense. If you're just punching paper and you're shooting for the best accuracy, oftentimes pellets are just better, especially if you're inside 50 yards. They're very good. You get to 75 and 100, it starts to transition where slugs could be better at that range. But pellets are just a better option, and a lot of times they're cheaper too. So like on the Air Arms, the gun that I was shooting was 22 cal. I think these, I'll show you my best group. So these were, the top group is the 23 grains. At least I was shooting H&Ns. I haven't gone back to shoot the JSBs. I have done some work with the JSBs, but I don't really remember the results right off the top of my head. The top group there on that is 23 grain, and that's 50 yards, and it's a little more than an inch. It's right around an inch, inch and a quarter maybe. And definitely not as good as pellets. Now the next group down below, that is 25 grain, and those seem to actually do better. The 25.217s looked to be the best option for 50 yards with this gun. And then the best group, well, yeah, that might be the best group right there. That group there, definitely under an inch. It's close, maybe just under an inch. I'll get to your get to you in a second here. Boy, I can't speak tonight. Tactical, just give me a second here. That group is a pretty decent group, 50 yards. It's probably, I'd have to mic it. It's probably right around an inch. But all of these groups that I shot yesterday with this gun, or showed you guys yesterday with this gun, were bigger than I would get with a pellet. So if I'm just target shooting, I'm going to shoot pellets, and I think that's mostly what I find out. Now there are some guns where slugs just make a lot of sense. A good example would be like the Gauntlet 30. We were shooting the FX slugs, and yes, they load hard. And we also shot the new slugs. I don't have them right in front of me, out of New York. And those shot really well. You guys could check out my video on that. But those shot really well and consistently well, and they loaded much easier. So, I mean, on a gun like that, that's 100 foot-pounds, 100 plus foot-pounds, that's where slugs can be really, really useful, because you're going to have the legs to stretch it out. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. Mark, that's a cool gun. Hope she likes it. Let's see. Yeah, Kyle, if you're speaking about Tim's issue with the 177 QB, probably I would agree with you. I would definitely, that doesn't sound, I've just had I've had too many good results with that gun. It sounds like something's off with it. Let's see. Yeah, Kyle, you're right on that. Speaking of the pellets, they just passed, once they hit a certain threshold, they don't go real well. Let's see. Tactical saying, I don't understand why people don't shoot 177 more. The percentage of people that will actually use their airgun for hunting has to be pretty low. I don't know that that's true. I think most of the people I talk to that are buying air guns are using it for pesting or some sort of, I mean, obviously target shooting's a part of it, but there's a lot of people I talk to, and most of them are wanting to shoot something like a squirrel or bird on their bird feeder. So there's a lot of folks that are wanting to hunt with it. Maybe not go hunting like, deer and boar and other stuff. There's a lot of people that are definitely pesting, and that's primarily the folks that I've seen buy stuff. That's what they're buying it for, is for that type of application. And then they find they really like target shooting. So I don't know about that. It may be an interesting kind of topic to investigate. Let's see. Yeah, Tim, if the person said it shot good, I would ask them what they were shooting, how they were shooting it, and if they can share any of their shot cards or anything with you of what they were getting out of it. Because, again, whenever you're buying a used product or doing a trade or something, it's not from a vendor, I always would suggest you ask for proof of performance. maybe a crony sheet or crony tape, and a shot card is like almost mandatory. Again, when we would ever sell at Airgun Pro Shop, and when I was running it and would take in a consignment, I always did all the testing before we put it on the site. That's why we charged a lot to sell the gun, because they knew we were going to have a lot into it. Let's see. So Tacticals asked me, have I had my hands on a caliber gun? No, I have not. It's one of the brands I'd like to shoot if I have some time. But no, I don't have any real experience with that. Timmy said he traded the Cattleman. Yeah, at least it holds air. That's not a bad trade. Your gun holds air. It's pretty good. I bet you it's a barrel or a pellet issue, and you can probably get it worked out. If it's a barrel issue, um, possible that you can get Beeman to help you out on that one, but you can try. Heath, my airgun hunting is in the woods within 50 yards. I live in Georgia. I don't need slugs. Most people just want to do what they see others doing. That's a good point. I think that's a big part of it, Heath. Is something becomes like fashionable, and then everybody's got to do it. I think gas rams, and you'll hear me get on my soapbox on occasion with regards to gas rams, because I prefer the old school Springer. You can tune them. There's a lot you can do with a traditional metal spring that you just can't do with a gas ram. And I've had far more gas rams fail than I've ever had spring guns let me down. Gas rams, at some point, the ram gives up, and then you're just SOL. And it happens. It's not a gradual degradation. It just one day doesn't work. So I much prefer a Springer. But gas rams became the next greatest thing since sliced bread, and that's everybody went to it. And manufacturers switched to it because consumers weren't buying it. If it was a Springer, it was garbage. And, that's not the case. I think the same argument could be made for regulators. I shoot a lot of unregulated guns. I shoot a lot of regulated guns too, but just because a gun doesn't have a regulator doesn't mean it's garbage. It just may mean you need to really understand the gun before you go shoot it. So I think that there is a lot to the, um, keeping up with the Joneses. I mentioned last week I was in IT, and I do a lot of computer stuff as a hobby as well as for work. And I bought, when Intel came, that we're going to go off topic here, but it's relevant. Just bear with me. Intel came out with their 12th gen processor last year, and I bought it, and I bought everything that went with that to make it happen. I spent a lot of money only to come away with, I should have waited for 6 months to a year, because I had so many problems with it to get it to run the way I wanted it to run, that I wasted a lot of time and a lot of money. And I bit on that fad early, and I could have waited, and I could have maybe gone a different direction, something more stable, and certainly not as flashy and not as in, but it would have been a better expending of my cash at the time. It's working now, and I'm pleased with what I get out of it now. But gosh, I could have saved myself a lot of headache. And I think that happened in the airgun world too. So take slug again with slugs. Most of your air guns are all choke barrels. They're designed to shoot pellets. So you switch over to slugs, and then what do you got to do? Well, I need a slug barrel. And you need a slug barrel because the pellet barrel won't shoot slugs well. So you spend the money for the slug barrel, then you find out your gun, it wasn't the barrel. The gun didn't have maybe the power to get the slugs truly stabilized, and you're actually not getting what you were getting out of pellets. This kind of stuff happens when you chase a fad. Now, in specific use cases where the slug is the right choice, get a gun that shoots slugs. Don't try and take a pellet gun and wedge it into a slug gun. Buy a slug gun, and then you get the right tool for the job. Let's see. Let's see here. Ah. Timmy, how far are you shooting? But I'm just curious how far you're shooting with that gun. Okay, Tactical's asking a good question. Excuse me. Hold on just a minute. The Tactical is asking this question. Is anyone finding traditional ranges not particularly airgun friendly? No powerful compressor, wrong ranges, no 10 meter, etc. I think most firearms ranges don't understand air guns at all. So, um, yeah, I think it's our job as air gunners to help them see the benefit um, of air guns. I helped start, and I think it shut down once I left, but I started Havasu Air Gunners when I lived there, and we had so much fun. We were there at least once a month, maybe a couple times a month, and we joined the range. Became acquainted with the management of the range, and they allowed us to have access for a few hours on one Saturday a month to host um, basically an open shoot for air gunners to come in, or people to just come in and shoot air gunners. And there were so many people that had never really understood what air guns were about. They came in, they started shooting, they loved it, and we wound up having a really good time over the course of a couple years, I think, with people coming, every month to shoot air guns. And I don't, it was when you're passionate about something like air guns, you kind of go deep with that in the sense of it really becomes all consuming many times of of just how much you love the sport. And so not everybody has that, so it's hard sometimes for people to really get why you like it so much. But if you can get a couple people hooked and you start a little club or something, that's a great way to then work with the range to then give you access, and they may see the benefit. They may get more members that want to come shoot air guns, and that's how we really were able to work with the range there at Havasu, because we helped them sign up new members for their range as more people wanted a place to come shoot even their air guns. So, but they didn't know what air guns were. It wasn't that they were hostile against them per se. They just didn't know what they were. Had no idea of what air guns could do, because in their mind they were either shotgunners or 22 bench rest or long, 300 meter long range shooters. They weren't. They just their idea of air guns were big Daisy Red Riders. They couldn't see past that. So we had to work very patiently, without um, you know without any judgment or condemnation, just helping them to see the benefit of air guns, and they eventually did, and it was a really fun time. Um, yeah, you guys don't like my glasses. Well, that's all I got. So, and if I don't wear them, I can't see anything. So I apologize if that's an offense to you, Mike. I don't have many other options. It is what it is. Um, So, Mark, let's see what else we got here. Mark saying, I'm using the SP20, my trusty Hotson air tax. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, on the SP20 tactical, I'm with you. I had one. I gave it to Ben. Boy, I wish I could get that gun back. What a great gun. Really, really nice. Okay, so Raphael's asking a question. As a responsible airgun owner, on the part of financial responsibility, could you please provide some advice when it comes to modding an airgun? Okay, so I'm not quite sure where you're coming from, but this was a topic I wanted to get to last week. We talked a little bit about it, and I wanted to devote some time to it in an upcoming week, so I guess we'll do it now. Modding an airgun it really only makes sense, in my opinion. This is my opinion. I'm not saying this has to be your opinion. Modding an airgun only makes sense when that part of the sport is something you enjoy. Um, when I first started, I would buy guns here, wanting them to shoot here. So let's say I bought, best example I had was I always wanted an RWS 350. At the time, the BAM B26, I think it was like a clone of the RWS 350, the Diana 350. And so I got that. Maybe I could, work on the spraying or, do a bunch of mods to it to make it shoot at this level. And in the end, I was never satisfied because I knew I wanted the 350, and nothing I ever did to a cheaper gun ever made it into a 350. So from a modding perspective, if you are wanting this performance and your budget affords this gun, don't assume if you buy this gun, you're going to bring it to this performance. I think there's a lot of people doing that with, say, the Avenger, or the Marauder was a great example of a gun that had mediocre performance, and people did a lot of modifications to bring the performance up. And the Benjamin, you can actually do a lot to that gun to make it better. At the end of the day, though, when you look at time and money spent on a Marauder, would you have been better off just buying an Air Arms, or buying an entry-level FX, or buying a BSA, or any of these other guns that are a few, maybe a few or several $100s more, but out of the box, they're already at the level you want, and maybe above the level that you want to shoot. So modding, if it's your thing, if you like to tinker and you really enjoy that part of the sport where, I'm getting, okay, so say you get a Marauder and it's out of the box and you're getting 900 feet per second. And if you do this, that, and the other, change the transfer port and port this out and, do all the things you do with it. And now I'm getting 930 feet per second. And that was just the whole experience gave you joy. Do it. Knock yourself out. Enjoy it. Have fun. Be ready and be willing to fully brick, and assume the responsibility of doing so, anything you put a screwdriver to. I think that's a huge responsibility, that if you're going to mod your gun, just take that. Before I did modifications to the Benjamin Gunner, I had made arrangements for that gun to become part of my inventory. Because if I send it back to Pyramid Air, because I've got to return it, then I want to send them a damaged gun or modified gun. I don't mod something that isn't mine, and I don't mod something that I'm not ready and willing to assume the full responsibility of bricking that item. With those caveats in place, mod to your heart's content. But if you're modding a gun to bring the performance up to a perceived level of performance that you think you need, I think most of the time you will find yourself cut short and unhappy in the end with the results. That's just my 2 cents on that whole thing. So let's see what we got going on here for questions. Yeah, Heath. Heath's got a good point. 100 field target is a true test of skill. If you're talking about shooting skills, yes. Not shooting 300 yards and only showing the hits, also yes. This is and I've mentioned this in my videos. I mentioned it up here. When you go and watch a fishing show, you do not see the hours upon hours upon hours of them casting and not catching anything. What you see for that 20 or 30 minutes is them catching a lot of fish. And airgun channels or shooters that only show you their pure successes or the best of their groups aren't showing you the whole story. And what I've been trying to do over the last couple of years, again, I did this I'm trying to remember. In the beginning, I'm pretty sure I would really work hard to get the best possible results, and that's what I showed. Then I went through a phase where my sponsors really wanted things short, and I've gotten away from that, and now I just sit down and shoot, and I try and do something that I'm going to enjoy and show you guys the good, the bad, and the ugly. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, well, let's learn that together as well. So I've kind of come into a place now where I'm not trying to tell you buy this gun. That's not my job. I'm not trying to tell you buy this pellet or buy this scope. I'm going to tell you these items work well together in my experience, and here's what I get when I use them. Hopefully, that is useful enough for people to make a decision whether or not something's going to fit for them. But I do like that. I do like that, not shooting 300 yards and not only showing the hits, and only showing the hits. Excuse me. That is what a lot of folks do. They don't show you their failures. They only show you their absolute best of their successes, and that's not an honest representation of one, the sport in general, and the products they're shooting. Let's see. Hey there, Angie. You're trying to shoot 15 yards, Tim? Yeah, I mean, at 15 yards, you should be shooting dime groups or better with that gun all day long. So if you're not, then something's up. And I would ask the guy you got to trade with to show you some of the cards he was shooting. And you can tell him what you're getting. And if he's an honest person, he's going to be willing to make things right for you. Hopefully that'll be the case. Let's see. Tactical. As far as the ASP-20, SIG stopped making that gun because they stopped making air guns. They licensed, maybe the wrong word. They partnered with Evike to begin developing and manufacturing their air guns. So the ASP-20 was a product that they couldn't make margin on in their own mind, and it just wasn't profitable. My advice to them, and back in the beginning when they very first started, and Lou was running it, good, bad, or different, doesn't matter, but Lou was there, and I knew Lou from Gammo. I questioned them as why were they taking a premier brand and charging Walmart prices for the products? Because if you charge Walmart prices, you have to build a Walmart gun. And, well, those aren't always really good. In fact, they're often not good. And I mean, gosh, SIGs is such a premier brand. If you could buy a top shelf, good quality SIG branded product in the airgun world that was made by SIG, that had SIGs back, that SIG stood behind and backed up, doesn't that have value? I would think yes, and I would be willing to pay for that personally. I have been on all my other air guns that I bought. I'm willing to pay more for a brand that I know has a high level of expertise in manufacturing and, execution. But when you're just farming it out to have it built by somebody else and you're slapping your name on it, I mean, what do you think is going to happen? The ASP-20 was a beautiful gun, and I miss it. I miss it a lot. It was a really, really good gun. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, Tim, I would certainly clean the barrel, get your chronograph out, and see what you're getting for velocity, see if there's a lot of variations. And then check the crown. Maybe you need to recrown it. There's a few little things you may need to do, but first thing I'd do is call the guy or get in touch with the guy you got the gun from and say, hey, what's up with this? You said it shot well, and I'm not getting it to shoot I'm not getting it to shoot. So I would say do that first. Let's see. Yeah, Kyle. So Kyle's got it. So Kyle says modding to me is more a labor of love. Otherwise, it makes more sense to pay a little more for the gun to get what you needed instead of making it what you need. And that is right on the money. If you like that, if that's what you like, I again go back to the IT analogy. I like to buy computer parts. I don't need any more computer parts. I don't need any more graphics cards or processors or motherboards or cases or hard drives. I've got them in piles. And I have probably a dozen computers I've built over the last year and a half. I don't need another computer. I like the building process. I like building it. I like benchmarking it. I like buying a 3-year-old graphics card and throwing it in the computer and then benchmarking it and running some game tests and seeing, oh, you know, this change does that. I like that. Now, it would probably drive other people absolutely nuts and probably thinks it's the biggest waste of time on the planet Earth to do such a thing. Okay. But I enjoy it. I like tinkering. I don't mind swapping the case fans, even though it's going to take me 3 hours to rewire and cable manage and all that. I find that therapeutic and enjoy it. Modding an air gun is very much the same way. It's the same process. You have something that works, you want it to work differently or better, and you start doing stuff, and then you measure the results. It's a very analytical process, and for some people, they really enjoy that part of it. It doesn't matter that they've got a particular brand or a particular, gun or caliber. They like the process of making it into something. I think Joe Iteraldi would be a good example of that. He has several guns he's built out of like a Benjamin Discovery, which is really no big dollar gun. But by the time he's done with it, he's shooting 175 yards. That gets his juices flowing, right? He really likes that. I not so much. That doesn't do it for me. But for him, he loves it, and great. That's the beautiful thing about the sport. So if you're modding an air gun because you like it, like that process, and like the the enjoyment you get out of that, go for it. Have fun, do it, enjoy it. If you're modding a gun to try and bring it up to a level that it doesn't already achieve, I bought it here. I need this. I bought this. I want to make it this. You 9 times out of 10, you're going to find you're going to be disappointed. All right. Let's see let me see what we got here. Mark, if I hit anything at 300 yards on purpose and actually hit it, I'd probably pass out from excitement. I was at Hunter Supply. Now, Dave, the owner, and his wife, Regina, they live right up against the Continental Divide. In fact, the backstop of his range is like the Continental Divide. And he has a 1,200 yard range. That is impressive. That is fun. That's very fun to shoot on. And he has a Texan, and I think he's got a 300 minute of angle adjustment on his scope. I think the mount was $400. And he likes shooting a 308 Texan as far as he can. And we were shooting 300, 400 yards with his gun pretty easily. That was a lot of fun. It's that is a very specific, very narrow niche that I like personally. That I like. I really want to be able to shoot. I still haven't found the gun to do it. Not for me yet. Not that they don't exist, because I know they do, but I'm still wanting manufacturers out there, if you have something that you say will do it, I really, really want a sub MOA 100-yard gun, because if it's sub MOA at 100 yards, I might be able to get 150 or 200 yards, at least with some consistency. I love shooting long range. I did it for the first time at SHOT Show with a 6.5 Creedmoor and put all my shots on a 12-inch plate at 800 yards. That was fun, and it got me hooked with that. But I don't have the space to do that here, or the cash to do it. But for me, sub MOA at 100 with an air gun is very much the same sort of challenge. So I love that. I want to do more of that personally. Let's see. The Diana Air King, Albert. Oh, man. I want to take a quick peek here. That is a gun I have to buy. I really want to get my hands on one. I'm going to log into my dealer site. I can't show you that information, so forgive me. I'm going to look over here and see if they have the Air King in stock. I wanted the red laminate stock Air King. I don't see it. I shot one when I was at Umrex one year. Yeah, I don't see it. Maybe they don't have it on their dealer site. And that was just such a gorgeous gun. Recoilless, Springer, impressive. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see it here anymore. I'm just looking at Airgun Depot. They had some for a while. I don't see it. No, no. I would. That's a gun I wish I had bought when I had the chance, and I didn't. So that's a bummer. Let's see. Heath, the TX200 and a tactical chassis. That would be pretty cool. I'd like to see that. Hey Derek, that's perfectly understandable. There's a point though where if you're dealing with a licensed product, in other words, Smith and Wesson doesn't make an air gun, but Umrex has the license to make air guns under the Smith and Wesson name. That's one thing. When a manufacturer actually makes the gun and imparts their value into the gun, then I think there's a point where that gun has more value because of that. Um, just my personal 2 cents. Anyway, let's see. Tactical on this Gen 2 SIGs, I did a review for might have been Pyramid. Might have been Pyramid Air. I did a review on their MCX, their canebrake something rattle or something, and the trigger was better. The reliability was better. It was a much nicer shooting gun than I remember the SIG semi-auto shooting. That was a really double action semi-auto, whatever it's called, whatever you want to call it. That was a really nice shooting gun. So something's changed in that. So pretty cool. So Tactical is saying he's sick of things being tactical. I like wood and steel as well. I did a video recently. I'm going to get back to it. The series on the DAR Gen 3. That's a nice gun. It's kind of chunky. It's a fairly chunky wood stock. Just a really nice shooting gun. I'm a fan of wood and steel air guns. Like it a good bit. The new Gammo, I've got to get back to the Gammo Hunter Extreme Pro, which is a gas ram version of their Hunter Extreme. That's wood and steel with steel breech. That's a really nice break barrel. In fact, I had some folks out. Family was visiting actually, and we got out and shot a bunch of air guns, and I had them shoot the Day State Red Wolf and everything that they were shooting. And we got the break barrels out, and we were shooting that 22 Hunter Extreme Pro, and we were hitting the little quadrant target at 50 yards with that easily, like every time. And so I've got to get a video going of that because that's a gun that for me that's air gunning to me. I mean, I like the PCPs and the $5, of course I do. But if I go back to my roots, just a solid break barrel that puts lead on target reliability, there are a few things that I enjoy more. And man, that gun was shooting good. Just a really fun gun to shoot. I love it. Let's see. Albert, the red laminate one if we're back to the Air King 54 Air King is the one I should have bought when I had the chance and didn't. So I'm right there with you. Let's see. Not sure on the Turkish gun prices falling. Don't know. The AirTac. Don't know anything about the AirTac, Mark. Tim, I haven't really spent a lot of time looking for things. I'm trying to get Airgun Expo. I was going to tell you guys about that. Hold on just a minute. A little update on Airgun Expo. So let me kick over to the website. So we've got Airgun Expo coming up. It's going to be held the 24th through the 28th of October. Let me go through some of the sponsors we have lined up already. Umrex, Gammo, Daisy, Hawke, DAR, JSB, Airgun Capital. You guys are going to want to learn about their stuff. They make very affordable airgun suppressors, primarily for the CO2 gun market, but they're going to be there, or they're going to have products. New England Air Guns, Moab, that's Barra. So we'll have the new 400E we'll be playing with, ATN, and there's more. So Pyramid Air, just talked to Val today. So Pyramid Air is going to have some stuff there. We're pretty full. It's not going to be as ragged of a schedule as it was last year for Airgun Expo, but this is the website. So it's the Airgun Expo. We're just finalizing all of the sponsors, so keep your eyes on this page. All of these sponsor links will probably get updated here in the next day or two, and then we'll also have pages for each of the sponsors. So all of that stuff will be right on the homepage. And this year, I had a couple questions for you guys. If we can sort of, oh, Heath, on the battery compressor, 2 thumbs up, man. It's working great. All right. Okay, real quick on the Turkish pricing. If you're talking specifically about crawl guns, I'm not sure what's happening there. I know that the Benjamin guns I've been shooting that are made by Crawl have been really good. And I haven't seen those prices coming down. So maybe there's just something with Pyramid Air trying to close out some Crawl inventory. So that might be what's going on, but I don't know for sure. I'd be guessing. One of the things I wanted to talk about logistically for you guys, with you guys, is it involves you guys. I don't have a DAR discount code handy right now. Maybe go to Gateway to Airguns, and if you're, I'm pretty sure you might be able to click on a link and get that code there. Let's see. All right. So I'm looking at different things to do for the expo with regards to the presentation of content. So here's a question to you guys. So is it better, easier for you guys just to be able to go to the Airgun Expo website and just watch everything there, than it just, when it's live, we're live and the content's there and it's just there on a specific page, rather than having to always figure out where to go on Facebook to go see it? And the reason I ask is that we can't touch a gun. If I picked up an air gun here on YouTube, moderators, some sort of algorithm is going to kick me off, shut me down, terminate, all that kind of nonsense. I'm anticipating a similar eventuality with, say, Facebook. We're going to do our live stuff. I believe we're going to be doing it live streaming through Vimeo and then sharing it to Facebook. And we're also going to share it to our website, Airgun Expo, maybe even Gateway to Airguns and AirgunWeb. And we can we can embed that content in multiple places. So I'm really thinking about changing how we do lives. YouTube is a great place because that's where everybody is. I mean, I have a lot of content. Well, I have people tell me about, I should publish on Tumblr, I should publish on Parler, I should do stuff over here. And we have tried that, but nobody watches it. You actually got to leave YouTube and go watch stuff over there for that to make sense for us as a content creator, and then go make use of that platform. When we go and try something and then nobody watches it, we got to come back here, or the sponsors just stop sponsoring. Because, I mean, ultimately, they sponsor us so that you guys get to know more about the products and them as a company. So I'm curious going forward, because I'm thinking about, I want to do more live handling of airgun products. And I'd like to do that more regularly, and I can't do it on YouTube. So if we were to do it in such a way where you guys could just go to AirgunWeb, click the live button, and you can just watch the live show right then. You still get to chat. You still get to be part of the engagement interaction. But would you guys be willing to watch lives on something other than YouTube or Facebook? That's my question. So I'll be curious. The expo, what's going to happen on YouTube is what's going to happen is okay. We are going to edit and republish everything that happened on the expo. Will get republished on AirgunWeb. So it will eventually be published. It's just we can't do lives, which is a real pain. Now, we're going to have a bunch of canned videos this year in between the live segments. Those will all be released on YouTube as premieres. So you'll probably have 3 to 4 videos a day of products that we'll be talking about throughout that week. That'll be canned, and then we'll do 3 to 4 videos live that we'll be doing live, either at the range or in the studio. So that week's going to have a lot of content, 30 or 40 pieces, probably easy, of content, plus our nightly wraps. We'll be doing shows like this every night on YouTube with various vendors and or guests and just talking about that day's shooting and their products. And we'll be encouraging you guys to join us and getting questions and that kind of thing. So I'd be curious. Let me know if something like watching on a web page, it's going to be just as easy as this, but watching on a web page has a value, or if it's got to be Facebook, or it's got to be YouTube, or it's got to be something else. I really need to know, because this is a pretty big change, and it's a monetary change. I mean, it's not, I think Vimeo is $1,000 to $1,200 a year to be able to live stream. So it's not an insignificant amount of money. It's an investment, and I don't, you guys aren't going to make use of it, or you don't think it's worth doing. I'd like to find a better way of doing it. I want to find something that's going to work for you guys, to be able to make sure you see the content, and then allow us, myself, Angie, or others that are part of the network, to do actually live, let's do live unboxing. I think those are fun. People can ask questions in the middle of it. I'd like to do that kind of thing, and we just can't on YouTube. And Facebook has its own challenges. I mean, we get flagged for posting a picture of a carbon fiber bottle. It's just ridiculous there. I don't want to run into those. I just don't want to deal with that headache anymore. I'd like to find something that you guys would be willing to use for the long term in a live sense of things. So that's sort of that. I'd be curious to get you guys' thoughts on that. Let's see. Yeah, we did live last year, the expo, and I'd done live shows on YouTube before with products, and right in the middle of it, cut us off. Doesn't matter if it's an air gun. They don't know the difference, and they don't want to know the difference. They just are not going to allow you to do it. That's why we switched to Facebook in the middle of the stream last year, or middle of the show last year. Yeah, gun is a gun to them. That's very, very true. Albert, there's so many different video platforms out there right now. The problem is you guys got to use them. It really is. It comes down to eyeballs. As a content creator, if I were to cut everything off and go over to an alternate video streaming platform, and if you guys all didn't come over there, I would be out of business in 2 months. Easy. I would probably, maybe less, maybe a month, maybe it'd be, I just couldn't keep the doors open. I couldn't pay my people, because I mean, it's not just me. I have multiple people that are working, earning a living through what we do here. And right now, this is the venue that has the eyeballs. If we have another venue that brings in similar eyeballs, I'm gone. See ya. I'll move. But yeah, there are plenty of video sharing platforms and streaming platforms, but we got to get people using them. That's the kicker. So let's see here. Well, we've come up right about done for the hour here. Really quick, starting tomorrow, I hope tomorrow, my intention is tomorrow, we're going to have coverage of the Daisy Nationals. We got our first video coming out tomorrow, and then we're going to have a video every day until we're through them. So we have some really cool stuff to show there. And then next week, I don't know if we'll have a Thursday video. We may. And then the week after, it's going to be nothing but hard production in advance of Airgun Expo. I do plan to have meetings or come up here. Now, next week, Tuesday, will not be here. I'm going to be engaged in another thing with our ministry, so I won't be here next week. But I will be here the week after, and the week after that, Airgun Expo already. So we got a lot of cool stuff going on. You know, you guys, thanks for joining me tonight. Hope that information has been helpful and useful, and it helps you guys in your air gunning that you're going to go out and do. Want to say thank you to Airgun Pro Shop and all of our sponsors that help keep this channel going. So definitely want to say thank you to you guys. And to you guys as the viewers, ultimately, you're the folks that help you do the most to keep this channel going, because without you guys watching and participating, there'd be no need for the channel. So I want to say thank you to you guys as well. So guys, that's going to be it. We've got another Let's Talk Airguns in the books, and we'll catch you not next week, we'll catch you the week after, but keep your eyes open for posts on the various social media about Airgun Expo, upcoming videos. I'll be announcing all the various sponsors, and there's some products we'll be able to tell you ahead of time that we'll be looking at, and then there's some products that we're going to be announcing at the expo. Some of them are brandy new, and we're going to do it live, so you're definitely going to want to catch that. It's going to be a fun week. Guys, that's going to be it for now. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you here in a couple of weeks. Bye.